Caitlin Clark's the new it. If you don't have a long ball, talking about the 26, 30 feet, if you ain't doing the Steph Curry, you ain't got none of that long ball in your game, yeah, you're gonna be behind.
She's doing stuff we've never seen before. Never seen nobody do that on a consistent basis. There's a lot of girls in WNBA that have done it in spurts, but you know, that game I'm watching y'all in the Final Four, I'm like, damn, like, and I was a hater because, you know, I'm down. She was like, she's not going to hit that shot, and bam, like, damn.
Anyone following basketball knows that Caitlin Clark is a supernova, changing how we view the women's game. NBA legends, icons who know the game inside and out, have been left in awe of her brilliance. The excitement surrounding the WNBA has reached new heights thanks to Caitlin's play and popularity. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The greatest of them all, Micheal Jordan, has finally broken his silence. MJ's comments about Caitlin are a game changer, and his praise for her speaks volumes. Stay tuned because what Jordan had to say is nothing short of extraordinary. NBA legend Rick Barry didn't hold back when it came to defending Caitlin Clark. In a powerful statement, Barry made it clear that the constant hate Caitlin has faced from certain WNBA players is nothing but jealousy and fear of her undeniable talent. His words hit hard, putting those critics right in their place. What Barry had to say is something every Caitlin Clark doubter needs to hear, because it shows exactly why she deserves all the respect she's earned.
I think it's reprehensible what they're allowing some of these players to. Anybody that does something flagrant to this young lady for what she's brought to the game should be suspended and fined big time for doing that.
WNBA great George Gervin also stepped up to defend Caitlin Clark, and his words were just as impactful. Gervin didn't shy away from calling out the disrespect, making it clear that Caitlin's talent is something to be celebrated, not torn down. His statement was an attention grabber, sending a message to everyone who doubts Caitlin. Her greatness is here to stay, and even legends recognize it. Get ready to hear Gervin's powerful defense.
They don't know the value that she's bringing for all of them. She bringing, they flying private planes now. They weren't flying private before she came. They on major networks now. They weren't doing that. See, she remind me of Tiger Woods for golf.
Yes.
Guys who don't have a huge media exposure are the most likely to give us their uncensored opinions, which is why we will start with a former player who isn't all over the airwaves in retirement. Jeff Teague was a quality starter for most of his 12 seasons in the league, and he was a one-time All-Star and won one NBA championship ring. But he never was a media darling or a highly marketable figure. Now retired, Teague felt free to criticize the WNBA for its treatment of Caitlin Clark as she entered the league with a huge fan base.
Like, they played this all wrong, bro.
Terribly, bro.
They was supposed to gas this shit. This is why people don't watch this shit when y'all leave college. Women's sports, because y'all hating on the best thing that's going to happen to the W.
While you can argue that his delivery is raw, the main idea he is conveying is very reasonable. After years of furious debate about the gender pay gap in sports and repeated unsuccessful attempts to raise the visibility of WNBA, Caitlin's arrival has finally got things moving on those fronts, but she still endured a rough welcome. Teague just points out that such an attitude is damaging the league financially, while making it clear that he considers Caitlin to be worthy of better treatment by her peers and managers. Speaking of ill treatment, Celtics legend Paul Pierce deserves some blame for the animosity in the media towards Clark early in the season. The 10-time All-Star has publicly doubted Caitlin Clark early, and even caused a racial controversy with his comments about the Fever's fabulous rookie. He has since tried to distance himself from some of that noise and started reluctantly showing some respect towards the Indiana Fever guard. Here is what Pierce had to say after Clark was left off the U.S. Olympic team.
You claim you want the women's game to grow, and then you keep the most popular girl in women's basketball off the team. How do you grow internationally and domestically if you don't put her on the U.S. team? It just makes the most sense. Sometimes you have to say, hey, guys, this is bigger than the game, which it is. I mean, women's basketball is at an all-time high because of Caitlin Clark.
On the surface, his take sounds respectful, but if you dissect the logic behind it, you will see that Pierce is still not totally sold on Caitlin Clark's basketball ability. He believes that Clark should have been a part of the U.S. roster in order to grow the popularity of the sport, but implies that Caitlin didn't earn an invitation on merit alone. Then again, Paul Pierce is one of the most provocative NBA players turned sports commentators, so all of his takes must be taken with some reservation, as he might simply be trying to stay relevant in the media space. Just when you thought the drama around Caitlin couldn't get any bigger, Shaquille O'Neal dropped a bombshell. On Angel Reese's podcast, Shaq held nothing back as he praised Caitlin Clark, right in front of her most vocal critic. It was a jaw-dropping moment. an NBA legend defending Caitlin in the least expected place. His words made one thing clear. Caitlin is extraordinary, and even her harshest critics couldn't deny it. Get ready to hear it straight from the Big Diesel himself.
And I was a hater because, you know, I'm down with she was like, she's not going to hit that shot, and bam, like, damn, she's not going to hit that shot, man. Like, if I say 10 times you're not going to hit the shot and you hit the shot, that means you're the truth. So I'm telling you now, if you just lower it like this.
Absence from the biggest sports event of the year may have hurt Caitlin on a personal level, but it could have been a blessing in disguise. That's at least what legendary NBA center and three-time Defensive Player of the Year, Dwight Howard, thinks. He deliberated back at the time that Caitlin could use the time off to work on her skills and dominate in the second half of the season, which is exactly what happened. The quote from Howard sounds almost prescient when we look back at it.
She is a great player, but it's a lot of players that, no lie, who, as far as basketball-wise, they have the edge over her of why they should be playing in the Olympics right now. Mind you, this should motivate her. This should make her go harder in the gym. The 3 weeks that they off, she should get in better shape.
Caitlin Clark looked much different since the Olympic break. And while we don't know how much the omission from the team sparked her fury and motivated her, she definitely found her groove. Traveling to Paris and potentially sitting on the bench for a stacked team could have thrown Clark off her rhythm, not to mention the possibility of a random injury that could linger upon her return. Dwight saw an opportunity for Caitlin, where everyone else saw only failure and lack of respect. And he was smart enough to realize that a player of Clark's caliber is perfectly positioned to capitalize on that opportunity and prove she is better than most of the players selected ahead of her. Still, with Caitlin Clark, you always have to take the big picture into account. Hall of Fame point guard Isaiah Thomas was always able to see all the angles, on and off the court. After his stellar playing career that culminated in back-to-back NBA championships for the Detroit Pistons, Thomas went on to work as head coach and executive in the NBA for many years. When asked about Clark, Thomas had a predominantly positive view, with one little twist in the end.
I think it's great what she's done, and I think it's great what the media and the WNBA and marketing and the players are doing because, you know, controversy is not good, but, you know, controversy sells.
That's a very smooth job from Thomas, who managed to compliment everyone and still point out the dirty business behind all the Caitlin hate, all in one sentence. It's no secret that people tune in to follow drama, and by attacking Caitlin Clark from all directions when she first arrived to the league, the media had a lot to gain. Let's just say that Isaiah is onto something here, but he doesn't want to feed into the very controversy he is describing. Caitlin Clark has quickly gained grassroots support from Indianapolis fans, but she still can't compare with some of the basketball heroes from the past when it comes to local love. On the very top of the list of most beloved Indiana ballers of all time is the elite three-point marksman and cutthroat competitor, Reggie Miller, who spent all of his 18 seasons wearing a #31 Pacers jersey. While you might expect Miller to show some respect to Clark as the new savior of his town, he went the opposite way and basically said that every rookie must learn how to deal with adversity and competition.
What did you expect was going to happen to her? Number one, I don't think it's jealousy. Oh my God, she's getting all the endorsements. We're going to go after her. You're playing at the highest level. You're playing in the WNBA. You're coming from college and you're going to the pro ranks, right? What did she expect was going to happen? Why are people so shocked, right? You're playing against grown women. The same thing happened to us.
Reggie Miller played in the old-school NBA, where physicality was the norm, and his perspective on hard fouls might not fully apply to today's game. But let's be clear. Caitlin Clark is facing challenges beyond just competitiveness. She's enduring unnecessary hostility. It was never realistic to expect WNBA players to simply welcome Caitlin without a fight, but the level of resistance she has encountered goes beyond earning her place. It feels like an attempt to push her down. Caitlin's journey is about more than just earning respect. It's about demanding fair treatment, even if it means standing tall against the odds. Magic Johnson is actively involved in women's basketball as a part owner of the Los Angeles Sparks. Because of that, we know that the superstar point guard and driver of 5 NBA championship teams is paying attention to what's going on in the WNBA. Johnson offered a very insightful analysis of Caitlin's role in the league, while also mentioning other high-profile rookies.
Now, Caitlin, her teammates got to come to her defense.
Sure.
You can't allow her to have to fight every battle, right? But we have to understand that both Caitlin, Angel, and Rink, who plays for my Sparks, they made the WNBA better. And they're going to be tested by these incredible women who've been in the league for a long time. Caitlin is the most popular WNBA player, but she's not the best at this time. Just like Larry and I were not the best when we entered the league. We became the best.
Interestingly, Magic drew a parallel between the current crop of young WNBA talent and his own rivalry with Larry Bird that revitalized the NBA in the late 70s and early 80s. He is preaching patience and pointing out that the young stars will need support from their teammates in order to conquer all the challenges and earn top spots in their sport. In his typical style, Magic gave his praise to everyone without truly getting caught up in the ugly part of the debate. Still, his assessment of Clark is very high and can be taken as a sign that even old NBA players who have a vested interest in a competing team must respect her greatness. Anyone who remembers Magic from his playing days knows he was always classy and elegant in his public statements. That can't be said for one of his contemporaries. Charles Barkley was a physical player whose interactions with the media often sounded similar to his battles for position deep in the paint. Now working in the media and enjoying even greater popularity than as a player, the 11-time All-Star and 2-time Olympic gold medalist has commented on Caitlin Clark and her WNBA experience several times. He has been mostly supportive, like in this clip where he discusses how her form changed during the season.
And the thing I love about her, she never says a word. And now when I watch her, two things I like. She's playing much faster. She was playing too slow the first half of the season.
From the college season.
They didn't even give her the understanding, like, you girls been worded for the WNBA season. Y'all been working out on the no. She came straight out of college.
Fatigue might have played as much of a role in slowing Caitlin Clark early as anything that defenses did, and Chuck is correctly noticing that she had more pep in her step lately. That led to increased opportunities in transition and higher scoring output for both Clark and her teammates. However, Barkley also addressed how fellow WNBA players treat Clark, and he didn't spare his targets from pointed and biting criticism.
You women out there, y'all petty, man. Hey, LeBron, you're 100% right on these girls hating on Caitlin Clark. Y'all petty, girls. I expect men to be petty because we're the most insecure group in the world. Y'all should be thanking that girl for getting y'all ass private charters, all the money and visibility she bringing to the WNBA. Don't be petty like dudes.
Humorous tone aside, Barkley has nailed the central issue in the Caitlin Clark saga. Competition is one thing, but petty maliciousness is something else. And there have been instances where opponents sent Clark to the floor with no legitimate basketball reasons. The argument that other players should be appreciative of Clark rather than combative stands to reason. But Barkley has another group in mind as culprits for the whole situation: the opinion makers in the media.
They cannot have this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they tried. People believe what we say on television. Just because people don't like you or your personality, they can't get on TV and slander you. It's just total bullshit. This girl is incredible. The number of attention, eyeballs she's brought to college and the pros, and for these women to have this petty jealousness, you say to yourself, damn, what is going on here?
You can't blame Barkley for being irritated by what he sees as injustice. WNBA sees Caitlin Clark as a cash cow, but it doesn't do enough to protect her on the floor and promote her as the future flag bearer of the league. Part of that comes from corporate caution, as the decision makers prefer to let the season play out before they formulate a strategy around Caitlin Clark's rapid ascent to superstardom. The other part may indeed be related to personal dislike of Clark among some key media members, and that's just not acceptable in a professional environment. Micheal Jordan has finally broken his silence on Caitlin Clark, and he didn't mince words. The WNBA owes Caitlin a lot for what she's done for the game, MJ said. Jordan also called for changes in officiating, emphasizing that the refs have been unfair to Caitlin and it's time for the league to make things right. His words send a powerful message. The WNBA must appreciate Caitlin's impact and ensure she gets the respect she deserves, both from the players and from the officials on the court. Steph Curry himself had to chime in on Caitlin Clark. After all, Luka isn't the only one who has been comparing Caitlin to Curry. She's been donning the female Steph Curry label since college, and it's not hard to see why. Her long-range three-point shooting is a dead giveaway already. There's been comparisons of Steph Curry's shooting form with the similar form of Caitlin Clark. They both have that blindingly quick release time that stuns defenders. But their games have way more to it than just that weapon. Steph himself has observed that special aspect from Caitlin Clark. To be like Steph, you don't just have to have the skill to shoot like Steph. You need to perform, turn the game into a show for the crowd. You also have to have more to your game than that. Find ways to make your team better and affect the game even when the ball isn't in your hands. That's what separates Steph's greatness from all the other guards that have been practicing their three-point shot. It's no wonder why people have asked Steph a lot about Caitlin Clark, and it's cool that Steph has been outspoken with his praise.
I saw somebody break down the release time, which is pretty much identical to mine. You can't help but watch when she plays, where she's shooting from, the range, the confidence, the flair. Like, she's a performer. It's crazy though, just because her shot is like that, it's at that level. If you really watch, like, her floor game is as impressive. So it's kind of the total package, and her being the French breaking that record, and the amount of attention that she has gained over the course of these last couple of years. Every building she goes into, there's a different energy. Like, it's great for her, great for women's basketball.
Steph represented the NBA during a landmark three-point shootout with the WNBAs. It was a thrilling matchup that was close until the end, with Steph edging out the win. Maybe now that NBA versus WNBA three-point shootouts have been established, Caitlin Clark could have a shot at going toe-to-toe with her idol too. She has declined to join the three-point contest so far, but is open to it in the future, she says. I know all of our fingers are crossed that she does. If Caitlin Clark wants to find some solace in the words of NBA legends, it's best to listen only to those who have the resumes to back their opinions. Former MVP and NBA champion Kevin Garnett has a reputation as one of the hardest workers in his sport, and his famous toughness and bravado helped him overcome countless challenges during a 21-year NBA career. Nicknamed the Big Ticket, Garnett joined the NBA straight out of high school and was soon feared on both ends of the court, so he has a unique perspective on how basketball stars are made.
Caitlin Clark go through shit. I'm watching all, man, rookies, you're gonna go through some shit. And guess what? When you're it, when you got the bullseye on your back, when you it, it's gonna come with some shit. And nobody's hitting y'all with the step back in the high. Yeah, it's a compliment. Yeah, you fear.
Not only does Garnett think it is normal for a rookie to deal with rough play and taunting, he believes it is a stepping stone toward greatness. The best ones have to prove their worth, and through that process, the special players build their winning mentality. According to him, Caitlin should take the attention from defenses as a sign of respect and just go with the flow. It's an interesting point of view, even if it may not be shared by all retired NBA players. The legend of Caitlin Clark continues to grow, and this is especially evident in the way the biggest names of the sport are talking about her. Since she started playing well and her team entered the playoff picture, she is increasingly recognized as the real deal, to borrow a phrase from Shaq. There is an old saying that game recognizes game. So the support of certified masters of the craft means much more than the opinions of journalists who never played basketball. All of the famous NBA stars were rookies once, so they understand how much Clark can develop from this point, and how much it will mean for women's basketball for her to reach her full potential. You can be sure that some of the best players in NBA history are actively following Caitlin Clark's road to success, and rooting for her to rewrite the record books and revolutionize the business aspect of the sport.